day, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Dada Mlinzi, which in Swahili means my sister's keeper. Sisters being together, feeling together, healing together, and rising together. Shown exclusively on our YouTube channel, Alive to Purpose. Today, it's such a pleasure to be with you for our second episode again. And I'm joined with my second sister today, Lucretia Bryan French. And we are also joined by the wonderful, very informed, always insightful Georgia Peterkin, who is a pastor and also therapist of My Emotional Freedom Clinic. Good day, ladies. How are you guys doing?
Hi, good day, good afternoon, Pastor Tarana. How are you doing? It's a pleasure to join with you once again. It's not new. We're always we've done so many things together. So I'm always happy being with you. It's always vibrant and lively. Hello, Lucretia. It's a pleasure meeting you for the first time. I've heard a lot about you. Now I'm putting a face to the name.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure also to join you once again, Tarana. Just as Pastor Georgia said, this is not the first time that I'm collaborating with you, but it's indeed a pleasure to meet you, Pastor, and I hope that this will be a fruitful and a very effective discussion that we'll have this afternoon.
Yes, definitely. I do believe that it will be effective. It's meant to be something that is light and fun, easy for anyone to understand, but also very, very helpful to our audience. And so we're talking about the topic of mental wellness. And I would just want to go over to asking our resident therapist this afternoon, first of all, what does mental wellness mean to you, especially in women?
Okay. So mental wellness. First, we want to understand something. Again, thank you, Tarana, for having me. When we talk about mental wellness, most people tend to confuse mental illness with mental health. Mental health is where we're talking about mental wellness, and that the difference is that with mental illness, that is something that is medically diagnosed. Mental health is a state of our well-being or mental well-being that we are responsible for individually. And while all of us, and when I say all, I mean every entire human being on the planet, struggle at one point or the next with mental health. But we don't always, not everyone struggles with mental illness, but all of us at some point or the other, we struggle with our mental wellness or mental health.
Yeah, so I suppose, as you said, mental illness is when you would have been diagnosed or there is a sickness or something. But from time to time, we all would have struggles with maintaining good mental health.
Absolutely.
So what does mental health look like, or mental wellness look like, as opposed to mental illness?
Okay, so let me just read. Go back. I went back in my notes, for this purpose, and let me just read a short script about what is mental health. And when we talk about mental health, we're talking about our mental well-being, or emotion, or thoughts and our feelings, or ability to solve problems and overcome difficulties, or social connections and understanding of the world around us. So this is we can have challenges with our mental health due to work pressure, home pressure, meeting deadlines, where we're all over the place. in multitasking. I know, Tarana, you're big on multitasking. So yes, I really want us to really pay attention to these things. And sometimes we are not cognizant that we are overwhelmed mentally in our well-being.
Definitely. And there's great wisdom in that as well, in terms of being able to have balance in your life.
We are responsible.
To being on the go, like Lacree as a professional woman, always being on the go, multitasking. If you're a mother, you're a wife, then you're in ministry. You have so many caps to fill, so many roles to function in and perform, and it's easy, I think, for women to fall back to that mechanism as a form of coping mechanism. I will multitask. I will cook the food and I will try to clean the house at the same time. I'll put in the laundry, I'll go do this, I'll go do that. I'm glad that you mentioned that one with the multitasking, because everything, I believe, should be done in moderation.
I recently saw an image with a woman. It's a kind of a cartoon image, and one child at her foot, one in her hand, the broom in the other. She's around the stove, the computer is there, and her hair, was all over the place, like she has been shocked or electrocuted, and I laugh about that image. But that is an epic example of a person. Since you mentioned, especially in women, that is a perfect example of a woman that doesn't have her mental health under control. Oftentimes, how do we realize that we are challenged, or mental health or mental well-being is a challenge, is when you get in the bed. Have you ever laid down after a long day doing everything, and you lay in your bed and your body feels like it's actually leaving itself? Like, it's like there's this thing that just comes down on you. Your body just feel overwhelmed. Sometimes you're feeling dizzy. Sometimes you feel like you don't have the strength to even turn. That's because you have actually put your health, mentally health, not illness now, your mental equilibrium, on overdrive. But because you're going and going and going, you don't feel it until you're actually in a relaxed mode.
And if I may, Pastor Georgia, something that you mentioned, sometimes the stress of the workplace, and so we tend not to take our mental health into perspective at that point in time. Do you think that it is important that workplaces would implement some sort of mechanism to assist their employees in dealing with mental wellness while they're on the job, knowing that we spend half of our waking time there on the workplace or so? Do you think that it's important that the workplace take that into consideration?
It's absolutely important. As a matter of fact, in France, they have what they call coffee breaks or cigarette break. You'll see for a few minutes, maybe 15 minutes of that, where they go outside, they take a coffee, they take a cigarette, and then they go back to their duties on the job. It is important. I, for one, I hope that none of my former bosses never see this, but I have a confession to make. I always, as far back as I can remember, in working for people, and if I don't care what I was doing or what I am doing, if I feel like I need a break, I stop. Whatever it is I'm doing, I stop and I do something that pleases me. That could mean anything from scrolling Facebook, going on YouTube, reading an article that I want to read, writing something that I want to write, listening to some kind of joke or something, but I take a pause. If ever I feel overwhelmed while I'm on the job, I'm taking a break. I can
also allude to that because just as you're confessing, I also do that. And well, I go a bit more extreme because I announce it. I say that I'm on my mental health break at this point in time, especially when I feel overwhelmed and exhausted or so. I will let you know I need a time for my mental wellness. I would go take a walk, or I would go get something to eat, or as you said, scroll Facebook. And then when I'm relaxed, then I would get back on the job. But thank you so much for also confessing that, so I don't feel guilty.
No, it is important. It is important. Unfortunately, not many of us understand what this means, what this 15 minutes or this 5 minutes can do to you and for you, as an individual. Another thing that I used to do, or try to do, not very often, but during my lunchtime, I find myself at a very serene place, a quiet place on the beach. When I'm driving, I go on the beach, I open my car door, all four, and I just have my lunch there. I'm also recuperating for the next couple of hours, the next 4 hours back on the job. It is important. Our mental health is important. Another thing that we have to do for our mental health, and also our emotional health as well. We set healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries. One of the things that I do also to maintain a balance in my mental health, to make sure that I am okay mentally in my health and I'm at peace. There are certain people, they mean well, but they're just toxic. Their family, their friends, so when someone calls you, you know exactly what to expect from that individual.
Yes. Yeah.
When you see this number or this name, you know exactly what the conversation is going to be like. Okay, so for me, there's at certain hours in the night, I do not take calls from individuals like that. I do not accept their calls. If I see they're calling, I don't accept that call, because I want to go to bed in peace and sleep well. If I were to take that call, it's going to disrupt my sleep. And I can't have that. I want to be beautiful. I want to be pretty. I want to sleep at peace. I want to have my mind, my brain well rested. Same thing for the morning. During the week, and I have it structured during the week, before 7 o'clock during the week, I do not accept certain calls from certain people, because you're not going to spoil my day mentally and emotionally. When I've done my devotion and I've laughed a little bit while I'm in bed and do whatever it is, and I'm full and ready for the day, then I can talk to you. But you will not, a certain person should not be the first person you speak to before you start your day, because you again protect your mental health.
I'm glad that you said that, on that topic of creating boundaries, realistic boundaries. We had our first podcast this week. It premiered on Sunday for the Burning Bush podcast on YouTube. And the topic that we talked about, the topic was called Red Letter Box, but it was really an analogy, a comparison as it related to years gone by when you had to wait for letters to come and the anticipation. And now with instant messaging and the type of anxiety that comes with texting and multitasking at work, being able to focus and all of that while you're responding to instant messaging, feeling guilty if you do not respond soon enough, people feeling insulted or ignored if you do not respond soon enough, and then further, those late night messages that come in that could have waited, until the other day. And so in that podcast, I was also sharing that there is a time and a season for everything under the sun, like Ecclesiastes says. So we must set boundaries, because if we don't know how to use our time well, then others will use it for us, and there will always be an emergency. There will always be somebody that is looking for your attention, especially via these texting and all of that. And it can indeed be very overwhelming, especially if you're in certain girl groups and these WhatsApp broadcasts and all of these things. Remember, you have 50, 60 people and people are sending things all of the time. And if you're not able to have proper boundaries and balance and protect your mental space, you will find yourself always on your phone, always looking at what's the next message, especially when it's late at night, and that interrupts your sleep, your balance, everything. Some of us, after you would have seen that, I suppose some people even dream what they read on the text.
Exactly. Exactly, because your subconscious at times plays out in while you sleep, but for me, there are times when messages comes in, and have you noticed how the conversation switches a bit? But we're still in the scope of mental health and caring for your mental well-being, right? I would read, and this comes in line with setting healthy boundaries. I would read the message, but I would not respond. Then in the morning, I would say, I did read your message last night, but I thought it was a bit too late to respond, so I waited until in the morning. You're sending a subtle message also.
So then people know what to expect.
Exactly.
So you're making, your expectations are clear. You're teaching people how to treat you there.
Exactly.
In your mental space at the same time.
Exactly.
I want to go back to something that was said earlier, with the photo that you said you saw with the woman with all of these different tasks, child rearing, cleaning the house and so forth. Do you believe that this is something that is more prevalent in the Caribbean, where we were raised this way as women, to think the woman has to do all of this, and if she's not doing it, then she's not a good wife or a good mother?
You know what? I wouldn't say that. It's not just the Caribbean. In the Black community, it's at large. In the Black community at large. However, it is not to say if you don't do it, you are not a good mother, but more to say most of the time, 80%, let me say, if I have to put a percentage to it, 80% of the time, that's because it's a single parent home, and unfortunately that single parent is the mother. So, she has to make sure that everything is done. The food is cooked, the dinner is prepared, the clothes is washed, the homework is done, the house is clean. And even so, when the husband is a double family, a complete family, meaning mother, father, and children, most of the time, yes, the mother, she goes to work and she comes back home, and there's still another set of work home. And that is why I did a seminar in November, and one of the things that I said to the women is that, it was surrounding self-care. Take care of yourself. That 5 minutes, for those of you who drive, the women who drive, when you pull up in your garage, your driveway at home, take that 5 minutes in that car, eat that chocolate bar, read that one page of that book before you get out of the car, listen to whatever you want to listen to, go on YouTube, whatever, do what you want to do for that 5 minutes, because when you open the door, there's a hurricane waiting for you there. The children, mommy, the husband, where's my shoe? Dinner has to be prepared. So you leave from work and you come home to another whole set of work.
This brings me to another question for you, Pastor. As we're speaking about mental health, and you did the differentiation between mental illness and mental health. But do you believe that many of us in society are not even able to speak openly about our mental wellness or our mental health because we're afraid of a stigmatization or discrimination against, and people thinking that we're mentally ill?
Absolutely, and that is because of education. Most of us are not educated about mental health, mental illness, and also the minute that growing up, when we talk about depression or mental challenges, the first thing we think, oh, it's a crazy person, it's a mad woman, it's a madman, you know, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know. And so because of what we have understood or what we were taught growing up about this topic, we tend to keep it to ourselves. We are afraid.
But if I can say, Pastor Georgia, it has the possibility then of getting to that extreme end of the spectrum.
Yes.
If we don't address it, you know, or
if it's not addressed.
You know, for example, people in conflict situations, and you realize, you know, it's getting to your head, or you cannot handle it, you start to feel anxious and so forth. People need to be taught, I believe, how to cope, you know, how to even say, I am not in the best place right now to discuss this. My head feels really full. Give me an opportunity and then we can come back, instead of just, you know, blowing off, for example, or things getting worse by just keeping everything inside. And then before you know it, you hear somebody is displaying suicidal tendencies.
Yes, because you ignore your mental wellness, your mental health, you ignore all of that, your mental equilibrium, and then because you ignored it, it leads into depression. And when you get into the place of depression, you know, then you start thinking, and it becomes overwhelmed. Then you start thinking about suicide. You start thinking about addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, sexual addiction, whatever, gambling addiction, you know, in order to combat what you're feeling. And when all of that is not enough, you just decide, okay, I think it's best for me to just end my life.
Wow, I really think that we're helping a lot of people via this program today. The information that is coming is rich, and it's not only for us to hear it, but to try our best to apply it to our lives, you know, make small changes, subtle changes, even if it's one thing that you do decide to change or work on to progress.
I'm happy that I'm happy that you talk about the small changes, because indeed, most of the time, to maintain a mental stability, it takes just a small step, small changes, as you've said, small changes, you know, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
Wow.
For self-care.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we don't have to bite off the entire pie at one time. We can take it in bits and pieces, you know,
exactly.
Until we mature to that level. As we're about to close, we just want to thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be on Dada Mlinzi. Sisters, being together, feeling together, healing together, and rising together. And I really want you to, if it is possible, send a strong message to women, especially those who are mothers, who are wearing the cap of mothers and wives, and also they are working and so forth, so that they can feel liberated, that if you cannot handle everything at the same time, it's either you need to work on your management skills, your time management and so forth, or you need to take that time out for your mental wellness, for self-care, and not feel guilty doing it, not feel less than doing it.
Okay, so here's what you can do as women, you know, because we know we want to do everything, and yes, we are stronger than we really think we are, you know, and sometimes we don't know until we are put to the test. But the strongest of person break at one point or the next, you know. The strongest of person need help. The strongest of person needs support. What you can do, first thing, make sure you have a journal of your day-to-day thing, what you want to do tomorrow. Okay, and guess what? If you have a journal of 5 things, you know, to do the next day, and you only accomplish 1, tap yourself on the shoulder, you have done something. That's it. You have done something. Okay, and then the next day and even if it's 1, you did something. Give yourself credit for that. Nothing is wrong with you eating that chocolate all by yourself and not sharing it with your children. It's okay. Nothing is wrong with you going out and buying that pair of shoes on sale for $10 for yourself. It's okay. Nothing is wrong with you laying in bed an extra 5 minutes, an extra 15 minutes. It's okay. Nothing is wrong with you saying to somebody, I am not feeling well. I feel tired. I need a break. Absolutely nothing is wrong with that. You're okay. You're human, and that is why you are. And we're all limited. I am limited. I'm a pastor, I'm a counselor, I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm a confidant, but I'm also limited. Pastor Tarana is limited. She wears many caps, many hats. She's limited. We are all limited beings. Take the time, take care of yourself, because these people that you love, yes, we love them and everything, but one day they are going to get older. The children I'm talking about, they will go and make their own life. You know, you need you. It's okay to seek help. It's okay to say I am not well. It's okay to say I am tired. It's okay to say no without an explanation. And I'll leave it there.
Lucre, we see you saying something there.
I was just concurring with what she said. It's okay. It's okay to lie in bed a little longer. It's okay to eat the chocolate by myself without feeling guilty. It's okay.
Yes, it is okay. And it's okay to say no, I cannot, without giving a whole paragraph of explanation.
Indeed.
Definitely, I love that, indeed, without having to feel a burden of this great big explanation, because in order to avoid that, sometimes people just do what the other person wants them to do at the cost of their own mental health. It is okay to say no and to decline invitations as well. You don't have to be for everything, in everything, at everything.
And be everywhere.
Everything and everywhere, but everyone. I am learning that.
Listen, ladies, we're not omniscient.
God is.
Not us.
While the spirit might be willing, we know the
flesh is weak.
We're human. That's right.
The spirit may be willing, but the flesh is weak. I was preaching in church on Sunday, and I shared that part of that with the congregation as well, where I am learning not to be all over the place, everywhere, responding because you felt that there was a need. Your presence was important. You wanted to send a message that, hey, I am with you. Yes, I am with you. And you will try to, accept every invitation and so on. And I am learning now, even as I am maturing, to be a bit more discerning and selective, and also listen to your body, listen to your mind. When your mind says that enough is enough, you're tired, you're drained, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. Nobody needs to be a pot salt. I was sharing how I was like a pot salt growing up. Pot salt meaning you eat everything.
Everything.
I was about.
You say everything in cup that knock, you there. That's in the Guyanese parlance. Everything in cup that knock, you are there. No,
in Jamaica we say you're coming like salt. You are in everything.
Salt, pot salt, indeed. But as we are growing and we're maturing, and the conversation continues surrounding mental wellness, especially in the Black community in this part of the world, I am expecting that this kind of conversation will be broadened, that people will feel free and open to talk about it and to put things in place to protect your mental health, take care of your mental health, just as how you take care of your body. Women love to look good, going to the gym and all of that. Then make this part good too. Make it sharp,
exactly.
And allow your mind and your brain cells to be replenished. Take the time, take the rest if you do need to do that without feeling guilty.
Just allow me to interject.
That you need to talk to somebody. If it has already gone so far, do not be ashamed. Do not stay alone. Do not keep it in silence. talk to somebody, especially if you can have a sister. Because as we said on Dada Mlinzi, it's about being together. Some women are together, but they don't feel together.
So, exactly.
Feeling together, healing together, and rising together. Before you rise, there must be a healing. So do talk to somebody. And we have Emotional Freedom Clinic with us. Share some of your contact information as we're about to close the program tonight, Pastor Georgia. If you can share your contact information so that those women and men who might be looking tonight and they are in need of that extra care and attention and help, that you can offer it to them.
Okay, so I have a Facebook presence, a Facebook platform. It's called Emotional Freedom Counseling and Therapy Clinic. That's Emotional Freedom Counseling and Therapy Clinic. That's on Facebook, and my contact informations are there. I also have a presence on Instagram as well. It's my_emotional_freedom, and also my YouTube channel, which is Emotional Freedom. So you can always find me there. Again, Facebook, Emotional Freedom Counseling and Therapy Clinic, or Facebook, Emotional Freedom, or Instagram, Emotional_freedom_, Emotional_freedom. All right, so you can always find me there. I also have an online virtual office, Doxy.me, where I do receive clients for counseling sessions virtually. Also, quickly, I have the second year. This is the second year of the Sister to Sister Help Me Heal, and that's also an online event. That's a paid event where women from all over the globe get to come together, and we talk about our traumas, what we've been through, how we got through it, what we're doing or what we did. And of course, I will be sending out that link for you to sign up to be a part of that. It's going to be epic, and this year it's going to be more therapists like myself on this on that webinar.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And so there is no way that people can say they won't be able to access you. If they have a social media presence, they will be able to locate you someplace, because I am sure there are people all over the world that will be looking at this broadcast. And so they have many different options and ways of getting to reach you. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight on Dada Mlinzi, where we promote sisters being together, feeling together, healing together, and rising together. Be well, everybody, and have a good night.